Hello, welcome to Today in History for the 27th of August. Let's get cracking. So in our usual fashion, we're going to roll back the blinds. This time it's to the year 1859, and if you were thinking what I'm thinking, yes, you guessed as much. That is the first successful oil well, and it's located near Titusville, Pennsylvania. And this man, his name is Colonel Drake. He was the man who drilled the first successful oil well on this day in 1859. So, Titusville, Pennsylvania. The structure is still there till today. And that's it there. Obviously, that's not today's picture, but yeah, it is there. Been preserved, I think, as a museum. So go check it out if you're anywhere nearby, Pennsylvania, or the next trip to the United States. That's the first oil well drilled on this day in 1859. First successful oil well. So that's what it looks like today. The oil well in Titusville. Next, we go to the year 1962, 103 years later. On this day, NASA launches Mariner 2 as part of NASA's Mariner program. It was an unmanned space probe that was the first man-made object to fly by another planet. It encountered Venus on the 14th of December 1962, so just a few months after it was launched into space. The space probe made its last contact with scientists on Earth on January 1963. So January the 3rd, 1963 was when it made its last contact with scientists on Earth. So, gone with the wind, I guess. Lost to space. Right. 1883. This is a bit anachronistic. This should have come in a bit earlier. But yeah, 1883 on this day, Krakatoa volcano west of Java. That is the Krakatoa volcano. It erupts with a force of 1,300 megatons and kills approximately 40,000 people. Now you can see why this eruption would have caused such a huge number of deaths. It's also a densely populated area. Asia generally is the most populous continent in the world anyway. So 40,000 people lost their lives approximately on this day in 1883. Now the reason why this volcano is active is that Krakatoa lies along the convergence of the Indian-Australian and Eurasian tectonic plates, a zone of high volcanic and seismic activity. Sometime within the past million years, the volcano built a cone-shaped mountain composed of flows of volcanic rock, alternating with layers of cinder and ash. So that's what eruption of the Krakatoa volcano would have looked like in 1883. So let's move on to the year 1963. So 80 years later, W.E.B. Du Bois. Incidentally, he doesn't pronounce his name Du Bois. Sounds like a French word, which you would think would be pronounced maybe not. Yeah, he pronounces it Du Bois, I think, Du Bois. But Du Bois would have been the French pronunciation. But yeah, he pronounces his name Du Bois, or he did pronounce his name Du Bois. Some say there's even a recording of him teaching people how to pronounce his name. So anyway, in this day, he died in Ghana, hence the Ghanaian flag there in the picture, as well as the profile of him as well, profile picture of him. William Edward Burghardt Du Bois was an American sociologist, socialist, historian, civil rights activist, Pan-Africanist, author, writer, and editor. He was born in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. Du Bois grew up in a relatively tolerant and integrated community. That's interesting for the time that he was around. It's interesting that he grew up in that sort of community. It's interesting that such communities even existed in the United States. So after completing graduate work at the University of Berlin and Harvard, where he was the first African American to earn a doctorate, he became a professor of history, sociology, and economics at Atlanta University. Du Bois was one of the founders of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1909. So W.E.B. Du Bois, who died on this day in 1963 in the country of Ghana, located in West Africa. I did talk about the year of the return in one of my videos, so go check it out. I may place a link here to direct you to that video. So 400 and something, I think it's 401 years this year, and the exact date was a few days ago. So check out the video right here, right now. Let's move on to the next historic event. For those of you who recognize that picture, yeah, of course it's the Mary Poppins movie. So Walt Disney's Mary Poppins, directed by Robert Stevenson and starring Julie Andrews, obviously, the lady in red, and then the guy in black. His name is Dick Van Dyke. It premieres in Los Angeles on this day, 1964. It is centered around a magical English nanny who is the eponymous protagonist in P.L. Travers' books. And on this day, obviously, we learn of this word, the longest nonsense word that children use to express approval or to represent, obviously, the longest word in English. It's Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So if you haven't seen this movie, go see it. Take your kids there. You're an adult, if you haven't seen it, go see it as well. It's quite entertaining. So, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, apparently the longest word in English. Okay, let's move swiftly on to the next history-making event today, 1985. On this day, there was a military coup or a coup d'etat in a country called Nigeria. Nigeria is located in West Africa, and this man was basically replaced. He came into power on the last day of December 1983. I remember that day very clearly. I was very young. So he came into power on this day, and less than 2 years later, he was booted out of power in a military coup, and the person who booted him out was General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. And this man's name is Muhammadu Buhari. Interestingly, guess what? He came back. He came back with a bang a few years ago, and that's what he looks like now. So, as of today, the 27th of August, 2020, Muhammadu Buhari is now a civilian, and he is a civilian president of Nigeria. He was elected into office and is still Nigeria's president. So, that's a bit of Nigerian history for those of you who do not know. You're not Nigerians, or you Nigerians and you have lost touch with the motherland. that's the president of Nigeria, the current president of Nigeria, who was a military president from 1983, 31st of December 1983 to the 27th of August 1985. Last but not least, where we shall end today in history, a country called Moldova gained its independence from the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. So most of that territory is now occupied by what today we know as Russia. But at some point it was known as the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. So it encompassed other states, if you like, so states in quotes that broke away from the USSR and they became countries of their own, right, in their own right. One of such countries was Moldova, that broke away from the Union. It's an Eastern European country and was part of the Soviet Union, or the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, since the 2nd of August 1940. It was formed from parts of Romania and parts of the Moldavian Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic. In 1991, after the dissolution of the USSR, the country gained its independence. So, see pictures here, proud Moldovans celebrating their freedom, which happened on this day in 1991. On that beautiful note, looking at the beautiful dance, beautiful dressing, beautiful culture of the Moldovan people, we end today's edition of Today in History. Join me tomorrow, guys, for another edition of Today in History. My name, again, is Sotomie Afiesimama, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video, if you want me to keep producing videos like this. Also consider subscribing. You can do that by clicking the notification bell so that you receive updates of my video uploads. I'll see you again tomorrow, guys. Stay safe. Bye-bye.